Well, we wanted to get together, frankly, because some of you, we've we've been in this space together a lot, but not in a while. And some of you maybe have been watching on, sort of on your own time, and we haven't gotten to know you. And some of you started teaching and teaching maybe something new, even if you've been teaching for a long time. Now you're teaching something that you haven't taught before. So we thought we would just check in, see how you're doing. We just want to see your beautiful faces. That's probably the number one thing. And so that you can see each other, this is our global community right now, and we all have done something together in a way. And we wanted to give you a chance to tell us how it's going, to ask us any questions. I mean, it can be as mundane as where do you put your foot in Warrior 2, or it could be like just tell us a success story about your teaching or something you're struggling with. What Albina brought up today, I'll just share a little quick anecdote that came to my mind, that when we went and stayed at the ashram in India, the Govardhan Eco Village with Radhanath Swami. He's a really famous Swami who wrote a book called The Journey Home, which I highly recommend. It might even be on your recommended reading, The Journey Home. And it's about the inward journey, really. And so he's the guy who's founded that ashram, and he told the same story. I heard him tell it 2 times, so that tells me it was important. And you've heard me talk about Hanuman before, and there's this story about where King Ram, who kind of was like the embodiment of the masculine energy and God, and his wife was Sita, and she got stolen and was taken to this island called Lanka, and she was kept away by this demon king. And so Hanuman went and found her, and then in order to bring his army to go battle this king, they built a bridge, a land bridge. So all the people in the kingdom, every being in the kingdom, started putting these rocks into the water. But it was taking a long time to build this bridge. If you can imagine, you're building a bridge across the ocean. And so Hanuman, as all the people are going back and forth, Hanuman goes and rips the top of a mountain off to try to make it faster. And as he's running down the path toward the ocean, he sees an ant in his way. And the ant is carrying a little piece of dirt, pretty big for him, right? If you see an ant, like that is like him carrying a mountain. And Hanuman stops because he doesn't want to step on the ant. The ant is contributing. And Hanuman's like, Mr. Ant, could you get out of my way? Because I have a whole mountain here, and you just got this little bit of dirt. And Ram sees that and he says, Hanuman, this ant is doing just as much as you are. With what he is and how he's coming, he's bringing as much energy, as much devotion, as much power, and as much of a contribution. And every bit of this contribution matters. And so, I mean, for me to use that, you might feel like, oh, I'm not a very good teacher, or I don't know enough, or maybe I don't have a big enough audience. And the story that I get from that is that whether you're the ant or whether you're Hanuman, it's all an equal contribution. You do what you can with what you have from where you are. And it's good to remember that sometimes, because it's a very humbling journey to teach yoga, right? And sometimes you can feel like you're the little ant and maybe your contribution doesn't matter. But the Bhagavad Gita says that no effort on this path is wasted. So anything that you bring is big.
Or to tie it into the intent for today's class, stepping into the fullness of your power may feel like, when you finally conquered your fears and your self-doubt, and you stand up in front of a group of people and you teach a yoga class, even though you're scared, it's like a big thing, right? Like Hanuman ripping out the top of the mountain. Or stepping into your power, maybe on your yoga mat, you just take a really deep breath and you feel something shift. And it can be as subtle as that, but both are powerful.
Aho. Do you want to open it up for anybody to ask questions or?
Ask questions.
or just share something. You can just take yourself off mute and say hi or however you want to do it. We don't have a big agenda now.
Okay, I'll say something like I always do.
Hey, Monica.
Like I always do. And I'm just glad to see you guys. I miss your stories. I miss how it's such a lovely, peaceful energy. And I've been sick, and to hear your voices, and it's just so lovely. So I'm glad to see you.
Welcome back.
Thanks. I've been teaching my neighbors. Okay. I have these neighbors, and I've been they are so lovely to want to actually come and participate. And the mats are all out. I have to do the poses though for them. Like, I have to do it because they don't know the poses. So I'm doing the poses, and I'm trying to teach, and then dealing with it was just like, it's a lot. And this is 3 people, it's all their little issues, all the stuff they want to complain. It's all complaints right now, because everything's hard. Can we do it without the downward dog and all that? No, we can't do. That's part of it. It's just funny how people are. So that's really, maybe other people would be fine with it, but it's just been very challenging for me. But I'm working through it. It's good. It's learning, growing.
Yeah, and I want to say, Monica, thanks for bringing that up, because teaching absolute beginners is challenging. It's much easier to teach a group class of all levels with 50 people in it than it is to teach 3 brand new people who have no idea what they're doing.
50-year-old women who are just don't exercise at all. They're just coming to, do this for me, even though they talk about how they want to get in shape, and it's just nonstop. It's hysterical.
But what a gift to give that to them, because they probably need it more than they know. And
I felt that.
And I think part of the shift that you can encourage them is, yeah, they're doing it for you to help you out so that you get to teach, but really for them to move beyond the complaining stage is what's in it for you. What can you access for you? How do you feel? And one of the things that I have done, this is something that, especially in a small group, is such a good little test, because you don't really know the impact you're making, right? And we can't ever really know. But one thing I did when I was working with this kind of special population was that I would say, before class, I would just say, everybody give me one word as to how you're feeling right now. And at the beginning of class, it was usually like, I'm nervous, this is going to be hard, or I'm tired, or whatever. It's something. Sometimes it's like, I'm feeling excited or something, but usually it was something either rainy or negative. And then at the end of class, we're going to check back in, and then just one word, how you feel. And most of the time it's like, I feel, like, I feel good. I feel open. I feel free. I feel light. And that is enough, right? It's like, if that little shift happened in 45 minutes, an hour, then that's the contribution that it makes to them. And that's the thing that they can tune into, like, oh yeah, it's hard right now, but I know at the end, I'm going to have this shift by the end of the class. I'm going to feel like pain-free, or I'm going to feel open, or I'm going to feel mobile, or I'm going to feel relaxed, right? Or whatever that is. And that's one way you can kind of measure it.
One of them, it was like this one woman, she gained so much confidence, it was just so cool to watch. At the end, you're right, but I don't ask those questions, but at the end they say positive things, and they're glad, and all this stuff, and they come back. So it's like, I know I'm doing something good. It's just my issues, working through them as, trying to teach them. And it's
great.
It's so rewarding, or I wouldn't want to do it. And it's my neighbors. So it's so lovely. And I learned so much from you guys and from Jeff and Marty. And I feel like I put it together, and it's just, I'm actually putting into practice what you guys have tried to teach. So I'm trying. Just want to let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you,
thanks
Monica.
for sharing. That's awesome.
Okay, I just remember 2 very important pieces of information. The Yoga Alliance, remember the deadline was December 31st, 2021 to complete the work. Then the Yoga Alliance extended that deadline through the end of February 2022. And right now they put that date on pause as well. So if you feel like right now you're overwhelmed, whether it is that you're doing 200-hour or 300-hour track, take a deep breath. You have time.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I had to research that. You have time. You have time. And right now, the Yoga Alliance, the official communication is, as long as you start the teacher training sometime in 2021 or before, you have into 2022 to finish it.
Mhm.
So you guys are all good.
Mhm.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions here. So Stephanie is asking, where do I buy the manual? So the manual, the link to the manual is on your content page. You can download it there. And if you want to print it out, you can send it to like FedEx or somewhere, your local printer, and you can print it yourself.
But it's free to download.
It's free to download, but if you want to have a hard copy, you can send it to your local printer and pick it up there.
Mhm.
I do it like, we have FedEx across the street. They do it in an hour.
And by the way, Jeff and Marty, who's helped us, assisted us with this training, feel free to chime in with anything you want to add at any moment. The song is Hanuman Bolo, I think is what you're thinking of, Melissa. Hanuman Bolo by Janet Stone, actually.
Jeff,
Hey guys. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Aline.
Hey guys, Elaine. How's it going? I missed y'all very much. It's
to
good to
see
see
you.
everyone. I have to be honest. I'm so glad to hear the extended time. Even December was still a long way. I thought that was enough, really good time. And now is, having a longer 2022, because I was very worried despite, because of the situation I have been going through. I am going to be honest. I was just very not in the mood to continue the 300 hours. I mean, I'd done everything, but just the extended of writing the paper, and I still have a few more. I have to, continue to add the hours to that 300. But I was feeling very just like, maybe it's not for me. I'm not the right teacher for that extending 300
Mhm.
advance. It was fun. Maybe I don't deserve the certification, so I'm just gonna fall back because I was just felt like I was so behind in a
Mhm.
sense, and I was just having all those negative moments, and even just to the point, just like laziness too. Being
Mhm.
honest in that part, like, okay, this is all right. It's not there. I'm glad I met these people. The 200, I've been having fun teaching that, but that extending was just kind of like, maybe that's just, my husband goes, well, you pay some money for it. Well, I kind of put it like, well, it helps, my mentors.
Yeah.
I'm making a positive thing. I'm donating the money for that,
Yeah.
even though I didn't, I'm not doing extending more. So it's a donation, that's how I told him. He just looks at me like, okay, that's a pricey donation, in a sense. And that was just, I guess the loss of my, mom and mother-in-law, as you know,
Mhm.
that just kind of put me in a situation that took long. Where I'm at now, I'm so much better mentally, so much better. I'm going to be honest with that. So it's just, and then when I received your email, my joining the class and all that, it did make me open my eyes. Like, okay, I can do it. I just got to make that time. Like, put it in my calendar. Okay, I need to do the meditation hours here because I need to do that. I need to do this. And then I'm like, look back and I lost, and that's another thing. I've lost a lot of my information on my email because that got
Mhm.
deleted. So I'm kind of stuck where I don't know how many hours I already accomplished and how many I need. So it's kind of, so I have all these things kind of like blocking me. And I feel maybe,
Mhm.
maybe I'm feeling that block is like, maybe I'm not supposed to go any further, but then that's just my mental reality of life,
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but I'm
no.
so glad to see you. I think because I had y'all in my life during the teacher training, constantly helped me go further and further. And then that stopped, and it kind of like, and teaching in like in person and teaching, using my 200 hours teaching, I've been having fun with that, but this 300 is kind of where I'm stuck.
Mhm.
Okay. If I may add, thank you, Aline, for naming that. I don't think you're alone in that sentiment. I don't think you're alone. A lot of people feel that way. I mean, look, the 300-hour program it's advanced teacher training. It's called advanced for a reason. So you can relax now. You have more time. Probably, I mean, we don't know, but Yoga Alliance is probably going to say way into 2022 to finish it. And then, but I also want to share with you a tool that you can apply not only to your teacher training, whether it is 200 or 300-hour teacher training, but it can be a tool that you apply into other areas of your life. And this is like this. So if you look at things like, oh, I have to watch all that content, I have to read the books, I have to do the reports, I have to teach. If you look at it as all this big giant thing, you will literally become overwhelmed and you give up, because the human brain works like this: 1, 2, 3, too many. Literally, our brain cannot handle more than 3 things. And there is a tool that's called chunking. Chunking. So let's say if you go, some people go to the gym. Like if I go to running, to me, it's like running is like, I get to the park, I run, I feel great. It's like 2 steps. I come to the park, I run, I feel great. But some people will feel like, oh, I have to get in the car. I have to wake up in the morning. I have to put on my clothes. I have to get in the car. I have to drive in the traffic. Then I come. Then I have to park. And then I have to run. And it's hard and it's sweaty and it's humid. And then it's long. And then I get to the car and I'm sweaty. And then I have to bring a towel. And sometimes I forget the towel. And then my car gets sweaty. And then it stinks. And then I have to go home and take a shower and do my hair and put on my makeup. So you see how they see it as too many steps. And the human brain goes 1, 2, 3, too many. So if you see something as too many steps, your brain will literally shut down and you're never going to complete it. So one of the things that you can consciously do is you chunk it. You chunk it into 2 or 3 steps. So if you look at 200-hour, 300-hour is like all this stuff that I get to do, you will never finish it, Aline. And I'm talking to Aline, but I'm actually talking to everybody. So look at it like this. You already did all the life trainings, Aline. Step 1 complete. You already did it. All you need to do is step 2 is you sit down and write it down on a sheet of paper, whatever, type it up on the computer, just a summary, what you can remember. And if you in a way program or you set an intention that it's going to be easy and it's going to be quick, you already completed the training. That's it. And maybe the 3rd step is just to do some of your electives.
Watch some videos.
Watch some videos. That's it. 1, 2, 3. You already completed a big chunks of it. Am I making sense? But if you look at it as, oh my gosh, there's mandatory, there's elective, too many, I have to calculate the hours, I have to write written reports, you'll never get it done. Mm-hmm. So you can apply it to really any aspect of your life, your to-do list, your projects, chunk it into 2 tops 3 big pieces. And I promise you, your brain is going to turn on and you're going to finish it quickly.
Yeah, and I would just add for all of you, it's similar to what I told Monica, consider what you're going to gain from it. Consider what you're going to gain from it for you personally, because I know that when I'm learning and growing, then I'm, like there's something inside of me that gets rewarded from that. And then when I get to turn around and share it, right, then it keeps going, so basically, this is what we've done our whole lives, is we learn something, we synthesize it, and then we turn around and share it. We learn it, and then we turn around and share it. And so it's just like that. We go out and we learn as much as we can. We go, ooh, yeah, I like that. How's that apply in my life? Work it, and then share it. I mean, almost not like right away, right? Because we integrate it, right, a little bit and apply it in our lives, see how it works for us. Some of it works, some of it doesn't, right? But then it's like, that's kind of the path of the teacher, right? You bring it in, you synthesize it, you integrate it, you take what works, you leave out what doesn't, right? And then you put it in, but then that's how it keeps going. And one other thing about the 300 hours, which is sort of it's a practical thing. Some of you have, those of you who are interested in the Yoga Alliance, and those of you who are interested in leading teachers, teacher training teachers, a 500-hour certification is required to teach advanced teacher training. So we can't lead Yoga Alliance 500 hours and 300 hours unless we had that thing, right? So we had to have a 500-hour certification in order to teach you the advanced training. Now we could have taught 200 hours, right? Because we have a 200-hour, but you can't teach beyond that. And you start to get into a rarer error because there's fewer people that have a 500-hour. Nowadays,
Everybody has.
the dog that came down the street just now has a 200-hour. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, there's so many 200-hour teachers, but there's not that many 500-hour teachers.
Mhm.
And so it's in a way, if it's sort of like something you want to do longer term, it's a distinction of sort. It's like a master's degree, right? Lots of people have a bachelor's, fewer people have a master's, and very few people have a PhD. So it's kind of more like a master's in yoga. And if that means anything to you, it's also, you can't teach a class at college unless you have a master's or a PhD, right? It's the same thing. Yoga Alliance sort of would only recognize, the only reason why they're recognizing a 300-hour from us is because we each have a 500-hour.
Well, we have RYT.
Right. But I mean, that's the process. We wouldn't get to whatever levels unless we
Did the work.
path. Right. So for those of you who care about that, I mean, that just sort of gives you the opportunity later to lead more advanced trainings and also just sort of set yourself apart maybe from other teachers. Not that you're better than, it's just another distinction, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so Melissa is asking, once we turn all the packet in, how long until we have our certification? Roger usually is pretty quick. He reviews the stuff within a week, oftentimes the same day.
Well, sometimes it slips through, but
yeah, if you don't get a response within a week, he probably lost your email, or he forgot he saw
missed it. Yeah.
Or he missed it. So just follow up. But ultimately, a lot of times he will send you the certification of completion right away. And then all you do, you go to Yoga Alliance website and you submit all the steps, and then you pay your fee and you're done. You get your RYT200 or 300 level.
So when you turn it into me, it shouldn't take me more than a couple of weeks. If it does, email me and say, hey, just reminding me that I turned it in. And then I look over it. And then 9 times out of 10, it's all good. Here's your certificate. Awesome. And then you can go turn that into the Yoga Alliance. Every once in a while, somebody either sort of did it the wrong way or didn't do it all. And then I have to say, great job. Now go do a little more. And usually the mistake that people make is either one of two things. They turn it in piecemeal, which I can't keep up with all of your homework. It all has to be in one email with attachments, just one email. Or they just tell me exactly what was in the video. I already know what's in the video. I don't care, or what's in the book. This book is about blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I already know. I want to know what you thought about it and how you felt about it, or what it, what it made you think about, or how it made you feel, or what you took from it, or what inspired you, or what wasn't clear, or something. So I care more about your experience than I care about what the content is. I already know all the content. And, I definitely don't want to hear about what, it says what it says in Baron Baptiste's book. I want to know what you took from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's the only other way you could basically screw it up, is that you just tell me what's already in there, just the content. Tell me what you felt. Tell me your experience.
So, and please don't piecemeal it to us. wait until everything is complete, put it into one email. I mean, we have like what 150 people right now. We cannot track everybody's little pieces of homework. Everything is to be sent, all of it in one email.
Yeah.
Um,
Google Drive is fine as long as there's a link to it and I can get into it. Here's another one. So one question from Caitlin was, I'm in the middle of my 200-hour. Is in recording our 60-minute classes, are we supposed to teach 60-minute power flows as written out in our packets? Yes.
Just 5 classes, just like that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you don't have to send those to us. You just do it.
You just do it for yourself.
Oh, and then what do we send you?
Oh, sorry.
Do we just send you like to
The
anything?
log.
The
Showing it?
log. These are the 5 that I did. And, we encourage you to watch and maybe even take your own classes.
Oh,
But
okay.
the main thing is you put in the work, but you don't need to send us any videos. You just send, everything is written that you send us.
Okay, that's good to know.
All the instructions are in there.
Yeah, I probably misread.
I think there was I think we have to, somebody that we teach has to write up something about us though, right?
No.
I mean,
Nope.
no?
Read the instructions.
Okay.
If you have any questions, just email us, but no, that's not, you don't. no one
Before
has
you
to do-
email us, read the instructions.
Read the instructions.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question about the 300 hours. I have been written several of the courses, and the Manifest Coach, the Manifest Marathon, the Quantum Field. I found that my reports are very similar. For some reason, I find that, and at the beginning I thought that I was watching the same videos, but then I went back to the video and I saw that Albina was wearing a different clothes and different hair. So I don't know if it is only me, but I found that there are like 4 courses that I see that some of the material overlaps. So my report looks similar. So I really want all the points, I don't want Roger to say, oh, Maria is saying the same thing here. So it's only me, or there is some repeated things. For instance, the Mind James is definitely twice the Geotron, the thermal, in different contexts, no? But so I found that I am reading, because I have an opinion about that, because at the beginning I didn't understand what that was. I mean, the manifest concept was 100% new to me.
Mhm.
So, but I found that there are like 4 courses that my reports are very similar, and I want to make sure that I get all my points. So it's only me, or they overlap a little bit?
I mean, the basics are still the same. Just like in yoga, what we have, the same pillars, right? Breath, movement, focus, drishti, but we put it into different words, right? In the forced yoga class, the breath goes like this, and the focus is this, and the asana is completely different than Baptiste power yoga, but the idea, the foundation is still the same. So the same with manifesting courses, the ideas, the basics, the foundation is still the same. It's just like, how can it be applied to manifesting money and manifesting abundance, right? The foundation is still the same. In the Become a Manifest Coach, it's the same ideas, the same principles, but how do you coach other people? It's one thing to step into abundance in your own life. It's a completely different set of skills to help another person to create abundance into their life. So yes, the foundation is still the same, but there are differences in those, subtle differences in those courses. But they are similar. Just like you can say Parving Asa Flow is similar to Forest Yoga, but it's actually very different.
Thank you.
Okay, there were some questions already. Oh, Mark had a question. Somebody.
Oh,
1 second, Jordan. Let me just address the question from Mark. So Mark, if you're interested in teaching forest-inspired classes, I would recommend going to the Art of Sequencing course. I think it was 50 hours. Is he here? Oh, he's right here. So the Art of Sequencing is pretty much breaks down all the ideas of forest yoga. The forest yoga methodology.
Mhm.
Now, from my own experience, I'll tell you, it took me over 10 years to truly master forest yoga methodology and truly understand the principles of it. But
It's so subtle.
it's very subtle. And it's very complex, but I go over the entire thing in that course, the art of sequencing. But if you want to go and continue like studying, you can, absolutely. I mean, I've done many trainings. I enjoy them. And every time I do a training, I go deeper.
And obviously practice with Anna whenever you can online, and you know, the teacher Anna, of course.
Jordan, you had a question?
So I am struggling to find a studio to teach in, and I really want to teach in person. I'm in a new place. I don't have like a built-in community, and I've reached out to people, and I've come up with 2 roadblocks. There's a studio that I'm attending that I love that only allows people to teach that have gone through their program. And I've got all sorts of opinions about that, but I'm really bummed out because I like the studio a lot, and it's Baptiste Power Flow. I go to these classes and like, I know I could teach right to this level. And then 2 is I don't hear back from people about if they're accepting teachers, if they're looking for new teachers. So I was wondering if you could maybe give me some advice on the right way to reach out to a studio owner and say, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm headed. Do you have a place for me in your studio?
And Jeff will have some good advice.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I'm sure we all, Jeff and Albina and I have some strong opinions on this. But what I would say, Jordan, first, where are you?
Right here.
I'm in Tampa or Clearwater, Florida.
Okay, that's good. We can probably connect you with some people around Tampa because we know some yogis there. So that's 1. And 2 is that my opinion is you're never going to get a response. Somebody else's stuff is in the background. So you're probably not ever going to get a response. I'd be surprised if you got a response via email, because studios get bombarded with people who maybe are just dipping their toe in the water and aren't really, asking to be a part of the community. And I think as a studio owner, you want somebody who's going to step into the community and really be a part of it and a leader. And so the best way, like you already are kind of doing, is to go to the place and be a part of the community, and then kind of say, hey, I really dig your community, and make sure you actually really dig the community, and then say, is there any chance that I can teach here, because I am a teacher, here's what I did, et cetera, and then maybe you can get a demo that way. And they may have a very specific process. Some studios will only do their own people.
At Yoga One, we only hired.
And then you could also ask, do they have some sort of bridge program? We had that. We had a deal, like if you got your 200, 300 hours somewhere else and you wanted to do a bridge, we had a 75 hour or 50 hour, or I don't even know. It was a weekend or 2 weekends, and people would come and learn about how we do things. And then from that, people could integrate into our deal. So we had kind of a way to get in without having to go through a whole nother 200 hours. Jeff, I don't know if you want to.
Can I add something before we ask Jeff? Go to the owner's classes. Go to the owner's classes often. Go to the person's classes who makes the decisions.
Yeah, there's a director of teachers.
Yeah, so the person who makes a decision, go to their classes, become their loyal fan. And then, so my experience as a studio owner, I'll tell you, we'd get hundreds of emails like every day. I want to teach at your studio. And it felt a little bit like me, give me. And I'm kind of exaggerating, but I'm like, why should I?
Or let me tell you how great I am.
Yeah, or like, I'm so awesome. I'm so amazing. I did all these trainings. I'm a badass. You should hire me. I'm like, why? I have hundreds of trainees who I trained. Like, my loyalty goes to them. They put in the work. But there were occasions when we did hire outside of our teacher trainings, but those are the people who showed up.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? Like they became like a big part of our community. And then I was like, God, of course I love you. I'm like, of course I'm going to hire you. You know, because there is a personal connection. Jeff, do you have something to add to that?
Yeah, and everything that both Roger and Albina said, it's you got to show up. If you, it's great that you found a place that you dig the vibe and all that, and it's tough. It feels like it's tough that they only want people who've gone through their training, and it's like sometimes it's timing, and if you still like the vibe, keep going. Keep
Mhm.
going. And like I said, take the owners classes, take the decision makers classes, and just be there. And at some point, I want to say, you just got to grind, and then you'll wear them down.
Yes.
You'll wear them down. And because you're so good and so positive, that some point they're going to be like, you've got to teach here, right? And they will make up and create their own bridge program for
That's right.
you. And, it's not easy.
That's a good point.
Just this morning, I had a guy show up. I was teaching up at Cedar Park, and I saw this guy towards the end of the class. He comes in, this tall young kid. He's like 20 years old, and he's got the dreadlocks. He's got everything, and he comes in, and I ask him what he's up to. He says, "Yeah, I just I'm a yoga teacher, and I'd love to see how I can get on the schedule." Right? And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, what's your name?" And so
Yeah.
it's like, he at least showed up in person, but he still did it the wrong way. But he was a wonderful guy, wonderful
Yeah.
kid, right? But yeah, I get lots of emails,
Yeah.
and the shotgun approach absolutely does not work. And go to other studios, because you might, even though they might not be Baptiste Power Flow, that might be some other style of main style of practice, that you go there and you dig the vibe, and it turns out they find out that you've done a training and you've done Baptiste Power Flow, and maybe that's something that they might want to throw on the schedule. But if you go to a Baptiste Power Flow studio and you say, I have a Baptiste Flow, training, there might be a little like locking horns. It might be that way.
Could
But if
be.
you come into a new place and you're diversifying their offerings,
Mhm.
maybe that's another possibility. So find something else that kind of suits you as maybe a little bit of a tangent for them. One other example I have is so Marty and I are fortunate that we have studios that we can teach in, and so I've been in essence just like forced onto the podium to teach, and so I've had opportunities to teach. And there was one situation a week ago that I was supposed to teach a power flow up in our Cedar Park studio, and I normally never have to go up to our Cedar Park studio, and I totally missed it. All right, so Sherry is calling me and saying, "Hey, are you on your way?" And I
Oh
said,
God.
"Oh my God, I totally missed that." So I looked to see who's in the class, and Luis is in the class. He's registered for the class. And I said, "Sherry, tell Luis he's going to teach his first class." So then Luis was in the right place at the right time, and he taught his first class without ever expecting it. So just hanging out at the studio, practicing there, and something might just happen,
Yeah.
by fluke error or whatever. So sometimes things just happen that way.
Mhm.
But you just got to grind it out, and don't be discouraged. And the more you get to practice and be in that situation, it's going to teach you patience and having that grinding it out attitude. And then when it happens, when you have that opportunity to teach, you're going to treasure that moment so much more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
And if I may add also, Jeff, oops, is that, now Jeff on some level feels like he owes Louise, right? Because he saved your butt. So a little bit, like somewhere in the background is like, Louise did step up and save my ass. So like, he will want to repay that favor whenever Louise is ready to teach.
Yeah. I want to add one more thing. This is for everybody. when we took a training with Anna Forrest, and at the end, now we owned a studio, or studios, and so we didn't really say this because it sounds differently
Oh,
coming from
yes.
us, but the
Yes.
teacher who led it, the last day of training, she said, people are gonna, you're gonna wonder about how to teach and stuff, right? Like, how do I go and teach? And how am I going to get on the schedule, and how am I going to teach yoga? And she sat there for 20 minutes and said, if the studio needs, wants the teachers to mop the floor before class, mop the floor. If they want to teach at 6 a.m., if they want you to teach at 5 in the morning, take the class, even if it's not convenient. If they want you to teach the last class on the schedule at a weird time on some other day or whatever, take the class. If they want you to check people in, and generally just show up with an attitude of, how can I help? Not how can you help me, right? But how can I help you? And that's a hard energy to turn down, right?
Mhm.
They'll choose the person who shows up with a, how can I help you? Do you need anything? So a lot of times, you can be somehow of service in the studio community, even before you're teaching, like karma yoga, that kind of thing. And that energy is always more appealing than the person who's like, so anyway, I want to teach, but I can only teach like between 5 and 7 on Tuesday. And so do you have that on your schedule? And that energy is not too exciting, because it's like, so I'm going to change it. Well, hold on. Let me just pause everything in my whole world and try to figure out something that fits exactly in your schedule. You know what I mean? And so if you're entering into these spaces, just know they got a lot going on and they need help. And with this energy of how can I help is hard to refuse.
Yeah, and if I may, like to tie it what Maria Ines said about manifesting. Remember how when we talked about manifesting money, when we talked about the other 300-hour trainings, we said the universal law of circulation, the universe is law. Everything in this universe is law. Once you understand the law and you put the law into work, then you manifest. So the law of circulation, you can talk about money, that is similar, since she mentioned it's the same. It is the same, but it's a little bit different. So with money, if you want to step into abundance, you tithe, right? You tithe, you give 10%, you serve, you help, you give, because the moment you give, you receive. So the same principle applied to you getting a job teaching yoga, the same energy you give, you come with an idea of service, of contributing, of supporting. And when you give, my friend, the law is the law, you will receive. That's the same principle, but you can look at it slightly differently, right? But the principle is still the same.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, time's up, and we could do this again in a month or so if you're interested.
Yeah.
We were just thinking about everybody, and I thought we would really like to see you and just see if you had any questions and can we help you. Obviously, you can email us directly. We're pretty easy to get a hold of. We respond to our emails, and
put your questions on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Turn on the notifications for the group, you'll see them. And then also, now that the studios are open, we can go to Jeff's studio for people who live in Austin. We can all love bomb Jeff's class and then go to breakfast or lunch afterwards. I mean, this is how you build the community. This is how you encourage and support each other. This is how you love on each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people in Austin, let's get together, go to Pure Yoga, love bomb Jeff and Marty, and our trainees like Stacy's teaching now. Aline teaches in Dallas. Like, let's go and support each other. Let's get together for dinner afterwards. Would love that. And then for people who are international, we will schedule these get-togethers if you find them helpful and supportive. Oh, absolutely, we're all for it.
Oh, and I'd say one last thing is, invite everybody to your class. Like if you're
Mhm.
teaching somewhere and that there's other people in town, invite everybody, because it's so awesome when I know that at our studios, people that were in teacher training together, they would go to each other's classes and they just so much support. It feels
Mhm.
so supportive, right? To do that for each other.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you know how to give each other feedback because you kind of have gotten the feedback. You kind of know what to look for, right?
Jeff wants to
Yeah.
say something. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, so for sure, if anybody in Austin, wants to come and take any of our classes, just shoot us a note, shoot me a note, you'll be able to reach Sherry at info@pureyogatexas.com. And this coming Saturday, if you guys want to meet in person, this Saturday, July 3rd, we're having a little outdoor pool party without the pool, right?
So
At our
cool.
downtown space. So it's just a hangout from 2 to 6. Also this Saturday, I'm teaching a hot power vinyasa at 9:30 on Saturday, and it's
Yeah.
outdoor. It's outdoors, and on Sunday at 11 a.m. Be great if you guys want to come in and say hello. And on that summer sessions, look on our website. It's just a gathering. We've got mocktails, Neapolitan pizza, and you can come in and check out the space because we have outdoor space that it's, you guys want to come and practice there, gather together, practice, teach with each other. It's all there. And our house is your house. So just come on down and just check it out if you're in Austin.
It's
Okay, this
such a
weekend.
beautiful space too. I love it. All right. So thanks for
All right.
that. We love you guys.
We love you. And we'll put another one in the books. Take care, you guys. Bye. So wonderful seeing you.